Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of In Silence with Faisal Alsager. I hope you're all good. Here's what I got to tell you today. Everybody dies. Breaking news, everybody dies. This is how everybody's story is gonna end. This is what we all have in common. Everybody dies. This is how your story ends, my story ends, the people you love stories end, people you don't know stories end, your friends, your enemies, everybody's story ends the same, in death. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. It doesn't have to be depressing. This is meant to empower you. See, the problem is most people live their life as if they live forever. They think that they have all the time in the world. And then they assume that also the people that live with them, those around them, also live forever. That they're going to be there all the time. But the truth is they're not. Truth is we're all going to lose our loved ones. We're all going to die one day. But we don't face that fact. We'd rather run away from that fact. We'd rather escape that fact. Cover it up. That's why death is a touchy subject or something we fear in society. It's something that people don't know how to deal with because they're afraid of it. But it's not time to be afraid of death. It's time to embrace it. It's time to know it as if that it's inevitable. Death is inevitable for every one of us. And you don't know when it's going to happen. Could be today, could be tomorrow, could be years from now. You never know when and how. But here's my challenge for you. Die before you die. Die before you die. Die a small death before you die. What's that called when you die before you die? That's called enlightenment. I want you to realize that your time here is limited. You live right now as if you have all the time in the world. You live as if you have limitless time left. But you have to come to this realization that your time here is limited. Those around you, their time with you is also limited. Everybody's time is limited, including yourself. And you have to realize that fact. Every moment, every day, my time here is limited. When you realize that and really meditate on it, really contemplate it, it doesn't have to be depressing. It can be very empowering and it can bring creative power. When you realize that your time here is limited, you begin to contemplate, well, what are my priorities? What do I prioritize in life? Who do I want to spend time with? What are the things that I want to do? Who do I really want to become? How do I want to love? How do I want to give? How do I want to be remembered when I'm gone? What will I leave to the world? What will I give to the world? What would I give to the world? And when I leave the world, what will they remember me for? These are all big questions and I don't expect you to answer them in 1 second. I want you to meditate on them day in, day out. Moment after moment. Take it. Don't take it for granted. Be earnest with it. Meditate, contemplate. The fact that, hey, you're going to die, so what do you want to do with your life? Your time here is limited, so what do you want to do with your time? Your energy is limited, so what do you want to do with your energy? What are the things that you want to do? But not only what are the things that you want to do, and I don't mean things of pleasure, because once you realize that your time here is limited, there's no time for pleasure. There's no time to chase thrills and excitement and pleasure, whatever type of pleasure it is that the world can give you. There's no time for that. So I don't mean do the thing when it comes to doing the things that you want to do when you realize that your time here is limited. I don't mean things that are pleasure. I mean things that you're actually passionate about. Things that you want to do. You really feel pulled towards. You feel this thing is calling you. You're calling. But maybe you've set it aside. And it can be as simple as fixing your relationship with whoever. working on that relationship, bringing harmony into that relationship. Whoever it is, it could be whatever. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be very small. It could be that you want to treat your parents with more respect and honor their life more. You want to really get close to them, serve them. It could be whatever. It could be working on a new project that you have thought of before but have put it out. Bringing your creativity, showing it to the world. But maybe you're afraid of what the world will think, and you feel vulnerable when it's time to do your passion or the things you feel called to do. But here's the thing, once you realize your time here is limited, there's no time for fear. There's no time to fear anything. There's no time to fear what other people may think. There's no time to fear whether you'll fail or succeed. There's no time for that. My time here is limited, so I will do my best to get the best out of it. I will do my best and bring the best out of it. I will not settle for anything less than. That should be your attitude. But you live as if you live forever. You live as if you have all the time in the world, and that's what's keeping you back from your fullest potential. That's what's keeping you back from freedom, true happiness, the glory of God. God has promised to move you from glory to glory, but you're not believing. You're living as if you live forever. You take your life and the life of those around you for granted. You take people that love you for granted because you face the simple fact that everybody dies. Everybody dies. You will die. I will die. People you love will die. Strangers you've never met before will die. The greatest people in this world, the legends, have died. And those that will come will also die. Everybody dies. So come to that realization. Everybody dies. Everybody dies. My time here is limited. I could die. I don't know when I'm going to die. So how can I use this time? What do I prioritize? What do I want to do? Who do I want to become? What do I really, really want? And this is the time, when you contemplate this is the time to tune out the distractions. Cut off distractions and tune out the voices from the world. Because many of your desires today are desires that the world told you to have. So you're playing it safe. You're taking the desires that the world gave you and you're playing it safe. But once you realize everybody dies, my life here is finite and it's going to end one day, my time here is limited, I better do what's necessary. I better take responsibility for my limited time and energy left. I better not take it for granted. I better do my best. That's why I do my best in everything that I do. Because I realize that my time here is limited. I'm going to die. And how great would it be? Why I say die before you die, enlighten your mind. Because how great would it be to be able to be in your dying days and look back and say, wow, I lived an amazing life. I wouldn't trade it for anything else. That would be wonderful. Well, it is possible. It's not so hard for that. But you have to realize that, hey, I'm going to die one day. My life here is finite. My time here is limited. I better use my energy wisely. I better stop taking things for granted. I better open up my eyes, open up my mind, open up my heart, and step into the world with faith, with courage, with confidence, with strong-willed, empowered. Not trying to hide away from this reality, not trying to escape the fact that we're all going to die. Because guess what? Everybody's story ends the same. Whether you're a great saint or the worst sinner in the world, whether you're the greatest athlete or greatest mathematician, whether you're a complete nobody, whether you're a monk or a businessman, whether you're a priest or a Nazi, doesn't matter who you are or what you do or where you come from, your story ends the same. Everybody's gonna die at the end. And that does not depress me at all. That empowers me. And that should empower you. I'm not here to depress you. I'm not here to say something cliche. I'm here to teach you a valuable lesson, what I've learned from my life, and pass it on. Because I understand that my time here is limited, and so is yours. So let's use our time wisely. Let's spend our energy wisely. Let's not waste another moment doing things that we hate. Let's not waste another moment taking our life for granted, taking the blessings that are already here for granted, taking the people in our life for granted. They're not here for long. Their time here is limited. Their time with you is limited even more. So quit taking other people for granted. Realize that everybody you know is going to die. So that when you realize that, you'll be like, okay, how do I love them more? How do I give more? How do I be a better person? So another thing I want you to think about when you realize the fact that death is imminent, it's inevitable. It's going to happen to everybody. It's going to happen to myself. When you realize that, contemplate it, well, you begin to decide, well, what are my priorities, right? You begin to clarify your priorities. When you begin to clarify your priorities, when it's clear to you what your priorities are, you can live a life of purpose. You can set your intentions straight. All of your actions will come out of intention and will come from a focused place. You will cut off distractions and live with intent. You will live with purpose and meaning. You will lead a life of purpose and meaning. And that's what everybody wants. But everybody's too busy being afraid of death. Everybody's greatest fear is death. So when you lose a loved one, you mourn, you grieve, you get depressed as hell. But in reality, instead of being so upset, we can honor them for who they were. We can honor their life. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand it's hard to lose a loved one, and everybody will lose a loved one in this life if you have a loved one, if you're lucky enough. And multiple loved ones as well, because remember, everybody dies. But we're not meant to be grieving for so long. We can instead honor their life. If we realize the fact that our time here is limited, we can instead honor everybody's life. Appreciate what they have given you, big or small. You appreciate even people that you don't know, small interactions with them. You appreciate it to a whole nother level. Why? Because you're starting to honor the people. You're starting to honor people for who they are, for the life that they are. And you do that when you realize that everybody dies. And you do that when you realize that your time here is limited. So what are you going to do when you realize that your time here is limited? You're going to say, I want to be the best version of myself as soon as possible. And I'm going to work as hard as I can to get there. Why? Because my time here is limited. And I love my life. I appreciate the gift that I've been given called life. The miracle, the blessing I've been given called life. And I will not take it for granted. That should be your mentality. That should be your attitude. Don't be with people who waste their life away. Don't be with people who waste their time. Because if you are with them, you will begin to waste your own time. You won't see the importance, the relevance of understanding how limited our time is. Why am I stressing this so much? Because it should be stressed. Because it's something you've been taking for granted your whole life. Not just you, I mean everybody. We all take it for granted. But what are you going to do about it? I'm saying you because I want you to dig inside of you, get that power in you. Evolve. Enlighten your mind. Take your life and everybody you love's life to the next level. When you realize that your time here is limited, you will say, well, how do I love better? How do I give more? How do I be of service? In every way. And when you do that, you will touch other people's lives. And they might not know it, but you will see that you are a blessing in their life. And why do you see that? Because you honor them as a blessing in your life. You're not taking them for granted. You honor them, you honor the life that they are. So you're a blessing for them as they are for you. So the one thing that I really want to stress is realize your time here is limited. Set your priorities straight. Clarify in your mind, what do you prioritize? And you might not know it right now, but give yourself time to know it. Discover it. Contemplate it deeply. Don't slack off on this thing. This is your life. Don't slack off. This is the one thing that you have to be on top of. When you set your priorities straight, when you clarify your priorities, you will live with purpose, and all your actions will come from a place of good intention. You will be intentional with all your actions. You will not be distracted. You will live a focused life. A life of purpose and focus. And when you live a life of purpose and focus and intentional actions, you will live a much, much, much happier life. I'm not just saying this. I'm not just out here preaching. I'm talking about my own life. This is what I'm passionate about, because I'm talking about my life. This is real. Everybody dies. But everybody denies the fact that everybody dies. And therefore, not everybody tries. So clarify in your mind, what are your priorities? Set a new standard for yourself. Push the boundaries. Your time here is limited. Stop living like you live forever. Set your priorities straight. Live a life of purpose. And let all your actions come from strong intention and focus. And then I'll meet you on the other side, where life is much happier. Thank you. I'll see you next time.